You really had me going. Yeah, you really had me going. 'Tis the season for Vlogmas with Wilannni. Fa la 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 dee. So, trying to see, what year was that? December 2016. Same year. Because we started talking June. Well, finally we started talking September 2017. So December 2016. Where he worked at, it was mostly females that worked at the store. Oh, and that was the other thing. I had got into his Twitter too, because it was the same password for his Twitter. Got into his Twitter, saw that he was talking to the girl that he used to talk to, and while I was in middle school that I knew. And I was like, interesting. He was talking about, oh, what he said. Hold on, let me go back to it. He's talking about, I love you, baby girl, and all this stuff like that. And just being real simpy. And this is around the time we're talking. This is in September 2016. And I was just like, interesting. Because I think what happened was he ran into her too while he was at work, and they started back talking. But that's not another story, but that's neither here or there. Okay, so he worked with mostly females. So one night, and I'm going to go see if I can find the screenshots on my phone, because I definitely screenshot. But I think it's on my computer. He went out with his coworkers, didn't tell me he was even doing this. Didn't tell me nothing. And because I wouldn't care, because like I said, we're not technically together. But I would still kind of care. But you didn't tell me till you knew it was wrong. So he goes out with the girls. It was 3 or 4 of them. They getting drinks. He the only male there, first of all. He the only male there. Red flag. Hanging with them, they getting drinks, blah, 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 blah. They hanging out. And I know all of this because he started posting stuff on his Snapchat story. So I'm watching his Snapchat hard. And so, one video, one of the girls then bent over twerking by the car. And I was just like, mind you, they not like no ugly girls or nothing. Next scenery, they at one of the girls' apartment or whatever. One girl in particular, we're going to call her Amber. We're only going to call her Amber because she looked like my cousin. Amber, she got her head laying on his lap, and he just laying there talking to the other girls in the background. She done took his phone. She recording all of this. And I'm just like, whoa, like, you really bold. Like, I don't know if he forgot to hide me from his story or what, but I'm like, you really bold. You really posting this right now. You really doing this. And I'm just looking at it all, screenshotting it all, and I'm just like, cool, keep that in mind. But when I go hang out with my bestie, my guy bestie, you think something going on. Meanwhile, you can hang out with all these little girls, and you don't think that look weird to you? You the only dude with 4 girls at an apartment. So I was just like, interesting. So like I said, the girl recording everything, her laying on his lap, him messing with the other girls in the background. I was just like, wow. I told him, don't call my phone ever again. Yeah, I think I told him, like, don't talk to me or something like that, because it's like, what? And say, pull up in the Sri Lanka. What? He like, text me, calling me. And I think I answered like a dummy. And he was telling me like, oh, I'm sorry, it's not how I look, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it is how it looks. And you can just say that. At this time, because he didn't know I had went through his Instagram and his Twitter and all his messages. He didn't know I did that. So I'm just like, it is how it looks. So you might as well just come out and say it. Because I already know what kind of dude you are. I see your messages. Still was in denial, saying nothing happened. So then he was like, come see me at work. My dumb ass went seen him at work. So he was like a bit hungover or whatever. And so he gives me his phone, and he was like, I got a free coffee at Chick-fil-A or whatever, because I'm like really sleepy right now. I got a free coffee at Chick-fil-A. Can you take my phone and go get my free coffee with my app? I was like, okay. You know me, I got their phone, baby, it's unlocked. I'm about to go through it. Duh. I want to know what you did last night. Stupid. Why would you give me your phone? And so, first I go to the notification center to see who's been texting you. Now, mind you, the girl Jalen that I mentioned earlier, the one who was talking about, oh, she talking to somebody, but told him she was going to text him. Jalen her number in the phone. And I'm like, interesting. He's saying good morning, baby, or something like that. Something about baby, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, baby. Baby girl. That's what this is. So I'm like, okay. So I go to that camera roll. I see he had a screenshot of the girl, Jalen, calling him. She got her own picture, her contact picture. And so he screenshot her calling him. And she got a pineapple by her name. I was like, ooh, diced pineapples. So just like, okay. I didn't go too further in the camera roll, which I'm pretty sure if I would have, I would have saw some things and I would have really been heated. But I was just like, I'm trying to hurry up and get to what I'm getting to. So as I'm leaving his job and going to Chick-fil-A, I'm going through their phone. I'm trying to find everything. At first, I went to his group message with his friends, which I could have looked at the attachments, like the images they sent each other, but I didn't even feel like that. I knew he was so stupid that everything I needed was in his messages are right there. So I go to his message threads and I see Amber. Amber, remember, is the girl who was laying on his lap when they went out to drink the night prior. So I see Amber name. I click it. It says, and I remember this very vividly. It says, since you're not on birth control, I'm going to stop and get a plan B. What? What? You gonna stop and get a what? 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 I was like, I know you lying. So I think I screenshotted all the messages or all the stuff I saw and sent it to myself. Deleted the stuff that I sent to my, deleted like that I screenshotted out his camera roll. Went to recently deleted it out of there. Sent it to myself. Deleted the stuff that I sent to myself so that way he didn't know that I sent anything to myself at all. So I did all of that. And when I got to Chick-fil-A, one of my friends, my sweet Jarius worked at Chick-fil-A, and Jarius saw me. He was like, Jarius called me Willy Wonka, obviously because my name is Wilannni and Willy whatever. So he called me Willy Wonka. He was like, what's wrong, Willy Wonka? Jarius was always in a joyful, joking mood. And he had a smile on his face because he was excited to see me, and I was excited to see him. But my facial expressions, one thing about it, it's going to tell my whole mood. It's going to tell everything that I think, feel, want to say, all of that. And I hate it because I think I be containing it so much, and it betray me every time. So he was like, hey, Willy Wonka, what's up, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I guess I was trying to be cheerful and talk, but I guess my face told another story. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, nothing. He was like, what's wrong? And he keep asking, and at this point, I'm about to cry. I'm like, stop. And so he was like, what's wrong? And I was just like, oh, nothing. And he eventually dropped it. And he was like, I know this ain't my Willy Wonka. This is not how she act. But he let it go. And so I was just like, okay, thank you. So I get the coffee. I'm speed running back to his job. Speed running back to his job with that phone. I gave him the phone and the coffee, and I think I said, good luck with your baby or something like that. And I was, like I said, my face told it all. So two of the girls, Amber, Miss Plan B, Amber was standing at the back of the store, saw me coming in. No, she was at the register, actually. Amber saw me coming in, and then one of the other girls was there, too. She saw me. Miss Plan B, and I was just like, good luck with your baby. And I gave him his phone and his coffee, and I stormed out that bit. Like, I was running so fast. So I got in my car. I started crying in my car. I was crying. I was like, oh my God. How dare you? He calling me. I didn't answer. So then finally I answered, because he knew. He knew I had saw some stuff. He knew I was going to see some stuff. Then he gonna try to say, I knew you was gonna go through my phone, so I did that on purpose, blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't. You didn't know I was gonna go through your phone. Because you didn't even know for sure if I was gonna come to your job, first and foremost. And you had been texting that since early this morning. So you didn't know nothing. You got your screenshots with you texting this other girl and stuff like that, and her contact picture. You didn't know I was gonna go through all of that. So I was just like, you didn't set this up. This wasn't a part of your master plan. You forgot, and you gave me your phone, and you got caught slipping. So I called my friends. I'm like, y'all, he hurt me. And I'm telling them everything. That night, my friend's sister had a Christmas party. But they was like, oh, we need to go find Christmas pajamas anyway. So what we gonna do is we gonna go to the mall. We gonna find something to wear to the Christmas little pajama party. And then when we do, we gonna roll up in his job. And I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, cool. So we roll up in the job. We go get our pajamas first, I think. We go to the job, and the girls are still there. And so they see us come in, and they already know they in the wrong, so they whatever ready for something. And I'm just like, first of all, I don't know what he done told y'all, but even if he didn't tell y'all nothing, don't be talking stupid or looking stupid at me, sweetie, when you know you dead wrong. We walk in, they walk, I'm telling them, oh, this Amber right here, this Miss Plan B. And I'm like, this other girl, that's one of the girls, and this one was one of the girls too. So we walk up, we go talk to him, and I'm not really saying nothing, I'm just looking around. They like giving him kind of like the 3rd degree, I think, and he just taking it because he know he wrong. And one of the girls walk up, I forgot what she said. She's like, and who are you? Something like that. She said it to Ariel. Ariel don't play. Ariel do not hold her tongue. I think she said, who are you or something. I can't remember what she said. It was real smart at the mouth. And Ariel got her back. Ariel told her up. And I guess she was like, oh. She wasn't expecting, first of all, for Ariel to say that. Because I think they might have been 2 years older than us, maybe. So I forgot what Ariel said back. But she wasn't expecting her to respond like that. And I think, like, they took it as, like, we came there to, like, fight them and all that stuff. Like, I'm not even worried about you right now. I'm on his case because it's more than just you and his phone. It's other people, too. Plus what I done saw through his Instagram and his Twitter. So I'm just like, I ain't even worried about you. You are a non-factor right now. So she getting smart them out, blah, blah. The other girl come out, she peeping. You was loud and proud earlier. Show yourself. So we went on the other side of the store because it was 2 sections. So we went on the other side of the store. We was talking to him. And then they kept like peeking and coming around the corner and peeking and stuff like that, trying to play it out like they wasn't looking or listening. And I'm like, ma'am, we didn't come here for you. I'm not about to fight over no man, especially no man that ain't mine. So I'm just like, you doing all this for what? We really don't care. So we talking to him, and we was just like, we was getting irritated. We was like, you know what, we just about to go. Because they look like they looking for something, and we ain't even here for them. We here to talk to you. Because I guess they didn't like how my approach to him, or they felt like I was checking him and my friends was checking him or something. You don't know what he telling me, and I don't know what he telling you. So just shut the hell up and stay out of it. Mind your business. You don't even know what's going on. We got our Christmas pajamas. We went to the party either that night or next day. I think it was that night though. And I'm just going through it. I'm like, I literally hate my life. He's still trying to text, call. I'm being dry or ignoring it, whatever. So then I don't know how, but eventually we got back to talking and all this stuff like that. You know how people be in situations and they just can't leave or don't leave or whatever. That's basically me. I know it's wrong. I don't want to talk to you, but I'm stuck here. Like, I like you. He wouldn't take me like on no dates or nothing like that because he was like, oh, he ain't really had the money for it. And I'm like, baby, I don't got the money for it either, but we can go to that McDonald's or something. It's something more. And so I would have to like initiate the dates or initiate other stuff. And I'm just like, this ain't it, chief. Fast forward to July 2017, right? Like I said, it was always something going on, some crap, whatever. End of June 2017, he went out of town on a cruise. Friday night, he left to go on his cruise. This was Saturday morning when the dude was asking me for my number, all that stuff like that. So I gave him my number. You single, I'm single too. I'm not gonna hold myself down because you doing whatever you want to do. Gave the dude my number. We kind of start texting. So then he come back into town. And I was like, I don't even really like this nigga like that. Like, you ain't doing nothing for me. Like, you holding me back at anything. So I'm just like, ugh. So when he get back in town, I'm kind of talking. And then I'm like getting to the point where I'm like kind of fed up with the whole situation. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to compile an email with all the screenshots that I took from his Instagram and his Twitter account. And I'm going to write a letter telling him exactly like why I did this, what this is, what I think about it, and how I feel. And so that's what I did. So I think I sent it on July 27th. Meanwhile, I'm still talking to the other dude. It's not July 27th yet. Jonathan and I are still hanging out. And on whatever, one night I went to his house. The new dude that I started texting, I had, you know how you got your text messages set up to where it pop up on your phone? Well, I was with Jonathan, and the dude ain't popped up on my phone saying he had texted me. And I was just like, ah! And he was like, oh, you might want to get that. And it was not it's a common name, but it's not a name that he knew of that I hung out with. Like, it wasn't a name that I had ever mentioned before. So he knew what it was when he saw it. And he was like, or whatever. So he was kind of feeling some type of way. And so I was like, oh, well, what? I went to the dude house one time, the new dude house, and we hung out. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I like. The other guy got to go. So I had drafted up an email. I'm going to read y'all part of the letter. So I had sent the pictures. I sent the pictures first, and of course it's an email, so the letter was attached at the bottom. I said, so you've made it through all the proof that I've had for almost a year now. Now does it make sense when I brought up certain people or incidents? Because I would bring up certain people and be like, oh, that's who you like, oh, that's your baby. And he'd be like, no. And I'm like, nigga, I seen the messages, so you can stop pretending and lying. And I was like, so that's why it makes sense, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I know I probably shouldn't have went through your socials and your phone, but I knew that's where I could find everything. I called you a fake friend because he lied and said one of his homeboys, the Jalen girl that I mentioned earlier, he lied and said one of his homeboys gave his number to the Jalen. But he was the one who gave his own number to Jalen. And he tried to implicate his homeboy in the mess. And I'm just like, you are a very fake friend. And if your homeboy only knew. And then another thing was, he claimed the same homeboy was in love with this other girl named something, whatever. He claimed it. But yeah, he was DMing the girl, talking to the girl, messaging the girl, and all that stuff for his own personal stuff. So I was like, you're a double fake friend. First you lied on him and said you did this. Then you stole the girl that you knew he was in love with. Oh, that's what it was. What even pushed me to want to start talking to him, he started DMing his ex-girlfriend. The same girlfriend that I told you that the one day when he left to go to school, that's the girlfriend. That same girl. The girlfriend from the original of us talking. He started DMing her stuff, sharing like funny posts on Instagram and stuff like that. So that's how we led up to all of that for me finally being done. Because you done went back to your ex now. Now you really didn't mess up. Another story I forgot to share. Nah. So, one day I was at work. I worked 3 to 7. He had work, but I think he had got off at like 5 o'clock. He didn't have a ride home because his car was at the shop. And I had dropped him off to work earlier in that day. And so, he was just trying to find a ride. He was saying his homeboy was going to give him a ride, blah, blah, blah. Alright? So, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Same time, that morning when I dropped him off, he had left his do-rag and his brush in my car. I know how men are about their do-rags and their brushes. So, when I got off from work, I was just like, before I got off, I was like, you found the ride? He was like, yeah, so-and-so took me, his homeboy. I was like, oh, okay. So, I got off from work, and I saw in my back seat, because I drive a 2-door car. I saw in my back seat, he had his brush and his do-rag in there. I was like, oh, snap. So, I'm calling him, don't answer. I text him, don't answer. I'm calling him, I'm texting, nothing. So, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna go all the way home and he called me and be like, oh, can you bring my do-rag? And I'm gonna be pissed. I'm like, his house is 5 minutes away from my job. So I'm just like, I'm gonna just go to his house, put his do-rag and his brush in the mailbox and just leave because he may be asleep. Joke was on me. Ha! The joke was on me. I pull up. They got a silver car parked in his driveway with the lights still on. Show you how stupid he is. He's not even paying attention that I didn't. So this driveway, I pull up behind the driveway. That's where the mailbox was, and I was putting the stuff in the mailbox. And I just sat there and looked for a minute, and it started to click. I know who drive that same kind of silver car. I know who drive that. And who was it? The ex-girlfriend. Yes, she drove that silver car. And I was just like, interesting. That's why you couldn't answer my phone call, because you're in the car with her. While I'm at work and trying to bring you your do-rag and stuff. I put the stuff in the mailbox, close it, I drive away. I think I texted him something and I said something about him. I don't know what I said. But then he called me. I don't answer. He called me. I'm on the interstate going home. I don't answer. So then I answer. I asked you, who brought you home? You told me so-and-so brought you home. He did not. I pull up you in the car with her. Oh, she was waiting on my mama. My mama had something to give her. Y'all been broken up all this time. Now all of a sudden your mama got something to give her. If her and your mama was besties like that, your mama would have got her address and took that to her. So that means y'all been talking. Because the girl, his birthday that year, I think, or the year before, her people called him for his birthday and was like, oh, happy birthday. Why you still calling your daughter's ex-boyfriend? I don't care how close or how nice you thought he was. You shouldn't be calling him a year, 2 years after they broken up. Why are you calling him? I had never met his mama. ever. Only way I met his mama is because we went to Target one night and he saw her car in the parking lot. He was like, "Oh, my mama here. Let's go find her." So we went to go find her, and he introduced me or whatever, and she was just like, "Oh, hey," like she was real dry, nonchalant about it. And then she brings up his ex-girlfriend and was like, "Oh, you know her grandfather died, blah 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 blah." Rude. First of all, you talking to the current girl he's talking to, and you mention his ex-girlfriend's grandfather. And I'm just like, why would you do that? That's very rude. So after that, I had already kind of didn't care for her about certain things he told me she did. But there right there, I'm just like, I don't ever want to see you again. I don't want to talk to you. When it came time for the grandpa funeral, I was like, you going to the funeral? He was like, well, yeah, he was such. I'm just like, that ain't your grandfather, so why you going? Y'all weren't married. Y'all don't got no kids. What you need to go to his funeral for? And yes, I was very heartless and to the point because it's like, why you need to go to the funeral? That's over, that's done. You can send your condolences and say, I'm sorry to hear about your grandpa, blah, but you don't need to go to no funeral suites. That gives the wrong idea. But anyways, that was then. I forgot about that. But I'm like, I know exactly whose car that is in the driveway. And I called him out about it. I was just like, you got her taking you home from what you told me you had a ride. He was like, oh, she just wanted to get something from my mama. My mama had something for her. Okay, why you had to sit in the car? He couldn't answer because if she was waiting on your mama, all she had to do was sit in the car while you went inside. Y'all don't have nothing to talk about. Y'all ain't even cool like that. You should be going inside while she's sitting in the car. So what y'all doing in the car? It ain't even like that. It ain't even like that. Yeah, well, cool. So that, him lying about her picking him up and all that stuff like that, he didn't even realize I had pulled up. He was like, what were you doing over there anyway? Because you left your do-rag and stuff in my car, and I was not coming back out my house because you needed it, okay? So I brought it to you. And you mad because you got caught. I know you're only sorry you got caught. Cause you put on quite a show. You really had me going. Yeah, you really had me going. So anyway, so he was feeling played because he had got caught. He thought he was really going to get away with that. God always put me in a position to find something out. One thing about it, I don't never be looking for something most of the time. Because like I said, I innocently went over there, put his stuff in the mailbox thinking he was asleep or something. But God put me there for a reason. Every time, I don't ever be looking for something. God put me there and let me find that out. So I was like, gotcha, in 4K. Anyway, so that was that. Plus him sending her the stuff on Instagram. I said, do it this, what you want. So he read that. He was pissed at me. He was like, why would you do that? Why would you go through my phone? Why would you go through my stuff? And I was like, why were you being a piece of crap? And so he didn't want to talk to me. I think he didn't talk to me for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I was fine. I was living my life. Because like I said, at that point, I had started talking to the other day. One day he finally called me or texted me. And he was like, come outside. Because he had came to my house. And we sat and talked about it. And I was like, yeah, I was wrong for going through your stuff. That's your privacy, all that. But you wrong for lying and leaving me on like that. His whole mantra was, oh, a title makes everything bad. It messes everything up. And I was like, bull crap. Title don't mess nothing up. You just full of it. Meanwhile, we doing everything together like boyfriend and girlfriend. What is it gonna kill you to just say we boyfriend and girlfriend? So that had made me very irritated. But we kind of moved past it. We kind of was talking, but we kind of wasn't. And around this time, it's his birthday now. Mind you, we ain't been talking. He called me the night of his birthday. We ain't been talking. Keep this in mind. He called me the night of his birthday because he was going to another city for his birthday, where he went to college at. He was going back to that city for his birthday with his friends. And he was like, he was calling me, oh, I'm about to get on the road. I was just calling to tell you I love you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious because we ain't been talking. Why are you calling me, telling me you finna go out the city and you tell me you love me and then you gonna text me all that stuff? I didn't ask you to do that. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool, love you too, blah, blah, blah. Then, later that night, he calls me drunk, belligerent, talking about, oh, I want you to have my son. No, you don't. I'm not doing that, first of all. Not doing that. I will not be having your son. So, I was just, like, listening to him, and I was like, yeah, because it was, like, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was asleep. And I was like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. And he just going in, oh, I love you, all this stuff like that. I want to be with you. And I was like, yeah, sure. After that, again, it went back to us not really talking. We ain't talk. Then he had hit a rough patch. He texted me talking about he needed help, whatever. My dumb self, of course, I helped him with what he needed. And at the same time, I knew I was introduced to his dad, sister, and grandma, and now his new stepmom or whatever. They were freaking angels. They were so sweet. I love them people to this day. I really love them. And we hung out at their house often and hung out with them often. And I remember kind of when we was talking Like, when we started hanging out and going places together, we had went out to eat with his daddy, his auntie. I mean, with his daddy, his sister, and his grandma to hibachi. And he left to go to the bathroom. And his daddy asked me, he was like, so what's going on with y'all? He was like, why he not your boyfriend? Why he has to ask you to be his girlfriend? Why y'all not together? And I was like, well, you got to ask him that because he talking about he don't believe in titles. Yes, I told on him. And his daddy was like, interesting. His daddy was disgusted because at this time, I think I was working 2 jobs and I'm going to school and I'm doing community service work and all this stuff like that. So I'm a baddie. I'm really getting things done. And I'm a science major at that. And I'm a little young, little black girl, you know, doing my thing, popping my color. But yeah, I was like that girl to his dad. He was like, this girl's like the full package. Like, why haven't you asked her to be his girlfriend? He's like, he was looking crazy when he got back to say because he saw us talking. I guess he was like, what they talking about? Together as a family and all that stuff. Like I said, we did a lot of stuff. And so for you to be mad that I want more than to be just whatever you want to call this, you out your mind because it is more and your family see it and all that stuff too. I said all that to say when he hit the rough patch, he was texting me, asking me like, can he borrow like some money or something like that? And I let him borrow the money. And then I think some kind of way his daddy found out. I don't know what happened, but his daddy texted me and he was like, yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Jonathan. Jonathan needs to get his life together. I told him he needs to go to the army or he needs to get out and move out his mama's house and get a job. Like, his daddy went in on him and I was like, God dang. I'm like, I wasn't even mad. I let him borrow the little money, but because I think it's like $60. And I was like, I wasn't mad or tripping about it and I wasn't even bothering him about it. And he was like, yeah, I'm just sick of him. He needs to do better. And I like just going in. And I'm like, tie him up as you should. And his daddy was just like, you deserve better. Literally, that's what his daddy said, you deserve better. A month or so later, his sister went to the same college university I went to. So she had a tailgate because her birthday was the weekend of homecoming. She had a tailgate. She texted me. She was like, you should come to the tailgate. And I was like, oh, you're so sweet. And so I went by her tent. And he knew I was going to be out there. So he called me. He was like, oh, where you park at? Because it wasn't nowhere to park because it be jumping when it's homecoming time. He was like, where you park at? I was like, well, we park over here because that's why I always park for the games and stuff like that. This man walks up with a girl. Mind you, we not talking at this point. We've been stopped talking. But he walks up to the tailgate with a girl. I turned to Faith, my bestie. I turned to Faith. I said, you say this? He tried to tell me, oh, that's my sister friend. She needed me to pick her up and drop her off. I was like, okay. But then the more I looked at it, the more I was like, no, it's not your sister friend. Because when she went by your sister, she was talking to your sister like she was scared and didn't even know her. So it's not your sister's friend. And your sister got you caught up, and that's goody for you. But him and the girl kept like disappearing and walking away because he knew. He knew that wasn't his sister friend. And I guess the girl felt out of place because I was standing there holding my ground. I think I told him the next day. I was like, you and your girl cute. He's like, stop, you doing all that. That ain't my girl. Well, what is she? Because at first she was your sister's friend that you had to drop off. Now you're talking about, oh, that's just my friend. You're a liar. And I get a picture sent to me a few days ago. I mean, a few days later, he got sinuses acting up. And he like, oh, I'm really sick. Wanted me to feel bad for him. Freaking narcissist. I'm really sick, blah, blah, blah. And what I did, I fell for it. I was just like, you need me to bring you something? He was like, no. I was like, okay. So I think at that time I had a rental car. I rode by his house, right? I rode by his house. They got a car parked in front of the house. And him and some girls sitting in the car. We not talking no more, but I'm just like, you text me that picture about you being sick the day before, 2 days ago. Then I come by your house, you sit in the car with this girl. Why you ain't text her? Why you calling me? Why you talking to me? I'm petty. So I called him. I was like, oh, what you doing right now? And it's so funny because I can remember all this vividly. I could tell you where I was, what street I was on, everything. And so I was like, what you doing right now? He was like, oh, nothing. I was like, you miss me? He was like, yeah, I do. He wasn't saying it. He was like, yeah, I do. I was like, how much you miss me? And I think he was catching on to, like, me knowing or whatever. And I was just like, you love me or something like that. I was just trying to provoke him to say stuff or provoke him to not say stuff so I can just mess with his head because I know you in the car with the girl. So I'm just saying all this stuff. And he was like, why are you doing all of this? And I was just like, first of all, you text me. I wasn't even worried about you. You text me and I'm doing all this because I can. Like, why you can't say it now? It wasn't a problem when you were saying, oh, I'm sick, I don't feel good. Now it's a problem. I just laughed and I hung up the phone. But I think that was the very last time I talked to him. I think he told me happy birthday. Then we never talked after that. Then one day, because I was talking to the new dude, then I think one day I just decided to text him. No, I decided to call him. And when I called him, it was like, this number is out of service. I was like, oh, now he blocked me. And so I texted sister. I was like, hey, can we talk? She was like, oh, yeah, but what's going on? And so I called her. I was like, well, I tried to call your brother. I was just checking in on him, see how he was doing. She was like, oh, he's fine. He's got a new job. He blah, blah, blah. And she was like, yeah, he got a new phone number. Well, I was like, okay, well, obviously, if he wanted me to have the number, he would have gave it to me. Because we still follow each other on Instagram. Still follow each other on Twitter. My number's still the same. So I was just like, he must don't want me to have it. So I'm not even finna ask about it. And she didn't say it because she must have figured like he must don't want her to have it. Because if he did, she would have it. She wouldn't be calling asking about him. So I was like, okay, well, that's really good. And left it at that. And at the same time, I saw he had started talking to this girl. Well, Deja, my other bestie, she had figured it out. And him and the girl had went on vacation with his family. And I felt like Justin Bieber. I was like, that should be me. Holding your hand. That should be me. But I wasn't really like that. But I was like, dang, I was supposed to be on a vacation. But yeah, his sister had posted a picture. That's how I even knew the girl went. Like 2018, 2019, my friends figured out that he had blocked them. My friends figured out that he had blocked them on Instagram. But he didn't block me on Instagram. And so we were so confused. It was like, if anything, he should block me because I'm the one who went through his phone. I'm the one who did all this. My friends never did nothing to him or said nothing to him. Even though he was doing horrible things, they never said nothing to him about it. And so we were just in shock that he blocked them. But he did not block me. And sometimes he would still watch my story because I remember in like 2018, what was that, March, April 2018, I had went to Miami. I went to Miami for a volunteering opportunity, but we had like free days and we got to go to the beach on those free days. I had to show y'all how I looked at the beach because if I was him, I would have been sending my stuff. So this is how I looked at the beach. And I had posted it on my Insta story, right? And mind you, he ain't really been watching my story at this time because like I said, it's March 2018. He ain't really been watching my story. Then all of a sudden I was going through my views and I see him and all his friends that watch my story. Meaning he even sent it to his friends talking about, oh, look, she in Miami, all and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, I'm in Miami and I look cute and I look good. But I just thought that was funny because I hadn't heard from him. He was cool as a friend, but as a love interest / relationship person, he was not. But as a friend, he was cool. I know it was all over the place. I took y'all for a ride because I forgot a few events. I tried to keep it as short as possible and not too lengthy. That was how my first situationship went. And I'm trying to decide if I want to tell y'all about how the second one went. I think I do. I'll tell y'all how the second one went. I don't really regret nothing because it made me learn everything that I know now. What I look for in a guy and what I want for myself. And it was just a learning experience. During the experience, it was like, what is this? I hate this. But like I said, it was a learning experience. So I gratefully take it and I gratefully accept it. And I'm glad it happened because like it made me learn about myself a lot. Thank you for watching Vlogmas. I hope you enjoyed the story. Bye guys.